want to say hi, Jed? Hi folks, welcome to another chip break. It's good to be back in the shop after a few weeks on the road. I just want to give you guys a quick update on what's going on, and stick around at the end for a little giveaway. So we got a pallet of DeWalt fixture plates in. We're working on putting those together. And as it kind of ties in with our organization, we've got this idea set up now where, and this needs to get improved, but you know, rimfire steel targets that we make, the Bridgeport power drawbars on the table, the Waltz on a table, and then these are for our clamps. Again, some work to improve, but coming along. I found these shelves at Sam's Club. They're actually pretty darn heavy duty, so I like those. I got one set up here for some shipping stuff. They're cheaper than the racks. They're about half the price, and don't get me wrong, the racking is great, but I like the fact that you can wheel these around. So I'm thinking maybe you have one on the end of each of these to kind of store your work in progress or parts and all that kind of stuff. And literally, I hate sounding like a broken record, but just finishing up the organization video, the one thing I want to do is add an improvement to that parts rack, which I think is worth doing before we film it all. So I'm excited for that. We also are just sending out a prototype of our new design for the Bridgeport power drawbar. And the nice thing about this one is it's going to fit, one plate will fit both pulley head machines as well as the variable speed head. So I'm excited to get that out and released. We have a couple of new, actually we had a couple of spots open up in our November CNC training class. Right here, the one November 9th through the 11th, and then we are adding a couple of one-day classes on Fusion 360. October 10th, coming up here quickly. We've got a one-day intro class. This is really inexpensive. It's a $150 full-day class, and it's a chance, if you've never used CAD or CAM before, to see what is it all about. And then we've got that same week on Friday an advanced CAM one-day class, and then an advanced two-day class in November on the 7th and 8th. The idea here is we're kind of experimenting, but we've had a great interest in our training. We love it. And I want to sort of focus on adding some classes, and we're kind of just trying to figure out what works. So if you're interested in those, those 1 and 2 day classes are pretty inexpensive. I think about 150 or 200 bucks per day, depending on the content. And on that note, I wanted to share, we should post our IMTS video, which was awesome, but I realized I didn't post anything about the swag that we picked up. And you guys did see this part. This was from the Samsung, one of their lathes, like the 6-inch or so lathe. Pretty cool part, just in the sense that it did a sub-spindle pass off and live milling on the backside. And what I was really impressed with was the finish quality of the machine itself. And so that was cool. AB Tools, the folks that make the Shear Hog, were giving out these dominoes, which I thought were pretty cool. They make them with their, I forget what the story was actually. Someone from AB want to chime in on the comments. I think they maybe use their engraving tool. We also just got from them, where did I put it? An engraving tool right here. Now, in fairness, I've actually heard that some people don't like inserted chamfer and engraving tools, so we'll have to see how this thing works out, but they sent it over to us, so we're going to give it a try. They've been a great company. They just, such a good example, in my opinion, of a tool company, 21st century company that gets it. Alfred there posts on Instagram, he's built this huge community, and there was this awkward moment at IMTS where there's like 30 of us from Instagram that are all hanging out at their booth. We took this huge group photo, and everyone else around them is like, why is this company just crushing it? So good job to them, American-made company. It's awesome, makes you happy. This part is pretty cool. So I wish I'd filmed this. It's 2 halves, and the machining alone is impressive. It's pretty cool. The fit isn't, it's not an EDM fit or anything crazy, but it's still not bad. But here's what's cool about this little soccer ball thing. If I can put it back together here. There it goes. Here's what's impressive. These were all blanks held in a giant rotary carousel. A Fanuc robot arm picked it up and moved it into a robo drill. That robo drill then machined the first op. While it's machining the first op, the table is moving, stupid fast, 1,000 inches a minute, 1,400 inches a minute, in X and Y. A robotic arm is loading a second part in the same machine in a hydraulic vise. So think about that. That means the robot arm is in tune with the code and movements of the machine, because as it's moving around, the robot arm is slave to the movement of the machine to drop that part into the vise while the other, just a couple inches away, is being machined. That was cool. When that's done, the robot arm picks it up and puts it in a CMM, a coordinate measuring machine. It's like a Renishaw probe, but its own little, it's like the size of a 3D printer. That machine is measuring what came off the first machine, and in real time, or between ops, I guess I should say, feeding back wear offset adjustments or tool length and width offset adjustments to the first machine. It then takes that part from the CMM, another robot arm, and moves it into the second machine. It does the second operation, really cool. Then a robot arm on the far end picks it up, takes it out of the second machine, swashes it through a dunk tank to clean it off, and then it drops it in a little parts bin and it slides down to the waiting customer. It was this workflow of raw material to finished, dual finished parts, including deburred and cleaned. And the cool thing to me was, again, the ability of that robot to put the part in the machine real time, and then the fact that it was feeding wear offsets back to the machine, which meant it could run, in theory, unattended for days and automatically make adjustments. Pretty darn cool. I got to give them a shout out for that. And then the last thing was this guy. This is a pretty simple widget part that was off of a Haas VF4 SS, or Super Speed. And I grabbed it because that's a good segue into what are we looking at next. And I want to save it for a whole video, because I think it's dangerous to condense this thinking down into any sort of a shortened video. And this process has been really interesting, but it's come down to me to really two different decisions. Something like the Haas, and I don't know whether it would be a VM3 or a VF4 SS, whole host of debates within that conversation, or go something with the machine that's always caught my eye was the Okuma M560V. And the reason is because people that I know of are making great parts with it. The reason I like the Haas, and I haven't made up my mind yet, is it's a totally different approach. It really is. And the one way to summarize it is, if your Haas needs parts, you can log into parts.haas.com, look it up, order parts, and send them to you. That doesn't mean you can fix everything, and that doesn't mean there isn't a huge role for the HFO or the service techs, but it's different, a very different approach than other companies, where it's more of a, hey, hands off, we'll send a tech out, that can add up, it can take time to get parts in, and I'm not saying that's what Okuma is. It's just a very different mentality, and I don't mean to focus on that example so much as that is the whole ethos of the company. So I've had a lot on my mind the past few days, chewing on it, the past few weeks, thinking about all that. I'm really excited, the same thing with the controller, the quality of the machine, with where we're going. So I will do a whole separate video on that, but I did want to share, my one concern with the Haas is making sure it makes great parts. I know it can, but you see, in this, the problem is these IMTS operations are just, they're so jacked up to produce incredibly fast parts. And you can see it, the inside wall there, I think, is great. The outside wall there could be improved, but that's really just a speeds and feeds, or even a tooling thing. I don't believe that you can make bad parts on any machine, I'll put it that way. So lastly, we were at this thing for Fusion 360 event, like a feedback event, and we got a SpaceMouse. We won one of the, oops, my thing just went haywire. The batteries died. We won the Fusion, one of the Fusion CAM challenges, so they sent us over a SpaceMouse. And you guys all know, I don't really like space mice. So let's give it away. It's brand new, in the box, sealed. Here's the giveaway details. We'll post it in the video description as well. But the thing that the Fusion team is trying to emphasize is it's not a toy. It's not this sort of free, in my opinion, like a SketchUp or silly CAD CAM software. It's really good and it's pretty powerful. So there's this new hashtag called Fusion is not a toy. So to enter for this mouse giveaway, you need to follow our Instagram, Saunders Machine Works. You need to follow Fusion 360 Instagram, ADSK Fusion 360, I think. Again, video description. And then post a photo of something that you've done with Fusion 360 that you think shows that it's not a toy. It could be a screenshot of a CAD, it could be a screenshot of a CAM, it can be a part you've machined. I don't really care, just post it. And make sure when you do it, you tag Fusion is not a toy, and because that's a bigger tag now, we need to make a tag for this giveaway. So tag it with SMW GAW, so Sonos Machine Works giveaway. And we'll go through them all, and we'll figure out a way to pick, we'll pick the best one, and we'll ship this thing off to you. We'll cover the shipping if it's in the US. If it's abroad, we'll ask that you pick up the shipping, and that's it. Otherwise, folks, back to work. Judd, you wanna say bye? You wanna say bye? See you soon, folks. Take care.